I'm going to go through the 5 elements that make environmental trading edge what it is and why I trade this way. Number one, environment. So, what the heck is an environment, right? Well, an environment is a fundamental variable that impacts a specific trading style. So, without getting too deep into it in this video, basically, what it comes down to is using something like volatility or volatility level, right? How much an asset is moving, how much it's gyrating, vibrating, right? How much it does that, it really does impact options, right? And options pricing. And then how much it changes options pricing around the money, out of the money, and what side, right? Calls, puts, things like that. That all goes into how well a trade works and how well option structure is priced. And just because a broken wing butterfly or a condor has been working really well doesn't mean that it's about to work really well in this environment, right? Because the environment changes. Crash environments in 2018 are very different than crash environments in 2008. Just because they're crashes, just because it's high volatility, doesn't mean that they're the same. Options react differently in a multitude of different ways. And it's important for us to measure and map them. Otherwise, we're just walking into the market blind, not knowing anything. That's like walking outside in the middle of Antarctica without knowing the temperature outside, thinking that it's San Diego Beach and you're going outside in a swimsuit and you're going to freeze in a matter of 10 seconds, right? You just wouldn't do that. Well, we've got to measure and map the market so that we can know, is it a good environment for this trade? Is it a good environment for this trade? Maybe it's not even a good environment to trade at all, right? So, element number 2 is time. Man, I trade this way because I don't want to be strapped to a desk all day. So the Adapt Daily and the Adapt Advanced, they take about 20, 30 minutes. The Adapt Advanced, maybe an hour a day, and that's it. So the point is that I won't have to spend my whole life in front of a desk at a computer. This is very important to me. Now, the Adapt Intraday is a little bit more intraday, so that's something that you're going to have to monitor and watch a little bit more. There are some ways to make it a little bit easier because you're not having to adjust it all day, so you're not trading all day, but it's still a little bit more time committal than something like the Adapt Daily or the Adapt Advanced. So it's important that it works inside my life. All right, number 3, minimal technicals. I measure and map everything environmentally. And what that does for me is it means that something that's like charting and technicals and something that's really subjective is minimized and eliminated actually completely in the Adapt Daily and in the intraday. 100%. We don't even look at charts, right? The Adapt Advanced, we do look at charts a little bit. We look at volume ranges and things like that that are important for us just to know where certain levels are because we are adapting that trade and adjusting that trade. It's the only trading system that adjusts. All right, number 4, scalability. You remember that allocation sizing that I was talking about earlier? Scalability. It's massive. It's important. It's 100% the most important thing you can do behind environmental trading, right? Once you measure and map the environment, now it's like, well, how much position size do I put on, right? Is it a good environment? Well, if it's a great environment, then let me hit a home run. Let me size up. Let me boost up. Boom, get something strong. And if it's not a good environment, maybe I want to be a little bit smaller. Or maybe I'm using a trade that's a big booming trade, but it can really hurt when it's not good, right? There are some of those trades in the systems, right? Well, then instead of taking on all this risk with it, let's size it down just a little bit. And now it can be big booming and a great trade for its environment, but not have a huge impact on the account if we lose. Scalability is super, super important. Also, scalability in the asset. We trade the SPX. The Russell will be coming soon, but the SPX is highly liquid. And because of its high liquidity, slippage is minimal, everything is executable. That's the reason that I can even offer a system like these that I've been trading for a while to the retail public, is because it's scalable. So it's not going to eat into my edges. It's not going to eat into my trading because a lot of people can follow along, and it's great if they choose to follow along. Either way, you get access to what I'm trading and what I've designed. And lastly, number 5, it pairs well with others. What does that mean? Well, modern portfolio theory, right? Risk parity, Ray Dalio, one of my icons, right? You sit there and if you blend strategies together that are uncorrelated or even inversely correlated sometimes, like the adapt intraday and the adapt daily, they pair so well that they'll reduce their risk from each other and actually make the returns higher by pairing them. So that's something that's really unique. They pair well together. And because they're unique in their own time frames, they typically pair really well with other strategies. All right. So, just to recap, environment, adapt to the market, adapt. You got to know what's going on in the market. You got to measure and map. We've got to know what's going on in order to put on the right trade at the right time. Entry is everything. We're not going to bat at a fast pitch baseball coming into the plate. It's a curveball, right? We're going to miss every time. No, we're going to swing fast. We're going to swing hard. We're going to swing early if it's a fastball, right? Number two, trade a little bit and make a lot of return for a short amount of time requirement. Man, being stuck in front of a desk all day for a 100% return or a 200% return sounds great. But at the end of it, it's not. You can make money a lot better in a lot of other ways than being strapped to the desk all day. I want to be efficient with my time. So 30 minutes or an hour to make 100 or 300% is perfectly great. It's fantastic. And I can do that regular, especially if it's scalable. Minimal technicals, no subjectivity. Number four, scalability on a position, one-on-one basis, and then also scalable on an account basis. Can we trade large in it? Can we get really big? Is there enough liquidity there for us? Then number five, does it pair well with things that we already do, or does it pair well with more strategies that we can find in the future? Absolutely. So those are the five elements that make up the environmental trading edge systems.